Hello guys and girls, and welcome to the Level Design Lobby. You're joining me, your host, Max Pears. I hope you guys are playing and making the games that you love. So welcome to the 8th episode of the Level Design Lobby. And I'm joined by my guest, who is trying not to laugh her head off as she sees me introducing the show, Aleksandra. Say hello.
Hello, guys. Aleksandra, nice to talk to Max today and be your guest.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us. So we're going to be breaking down, we're going to be talking about a whole franchise, actually. We're going to be talking about BioWare's Dragon Age. Where's your sound effects? This is the point where you make a dragon noise. Come on. So, we're both big fans of the Dragon Age series, and we got chatting about this in the office, and we decided that we wanted to talk more about this. But
I think for the last 6 months we were talking about that quite a lot.
Yeah, we were talking about this a long time. So, and then I made a podcast, and so we thought we'd put it on air because people care about our opinions. Anyway, I haven't done a proper introduction of you, so why don't you tell the audience about yourself? Because you've been in the industry for how long now?
I think it will be around 4 or 5 years at this very moment. Okay, so I'm Aleksandra, and I'm working as a producer. To be specific, it's an art producer. So
yeah, it's
nice to be here.
The devil's job, a producer. No, it's all banner. It's all banner. So yeah, we're currently working at the same place now as well, and we've been chatting about Dragon Age for a while, and I mean we're huge fantasy nerds as well, Lord of the Rings and
all the medieval fantasy,
Dungeons and Dragons, all that stuff. So yeah, we've taken, it's been about 2 weeks or something. We've been replaying some of the games,
Oh yeah, we wanted to prepare for that
yes.
event, so we had to went again through this through parts of the Dragon Age.
They're long games as well. They're no short feat of a task.
Except Dragon Age 2, which was pretty short.
It's a controversial topic, which I'm sure we'll cross soon enough. Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy what we're going to be talking about. It's generally going to be breaking down what we liked about and disliked about Dragon Age, and trying to break down stuff a bit into detail, and us as fans, not just as games creators and what have you, but us as also as fans, because I think it's important for us, even as game makers, to think about what we enjoy as the fans, and that's what we take into making the games that we make. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the first point we're going to be talking about is the UI, and this has progressed through the whole series. I think we can agree, the first one it wasn't that.
It was
nice.
Decent. It wasn't too bad, but
yeah.
It wasn't anything special.
Yeah, but by the Inquisition, the third one, it was a lot nicer for sure. I really enjoyed it in the strategy, the overview menu when you're controlling your comrades. When you pressed that and you had the nice camera and the different sort of when you knew you were over a companion, that looked slick and that looked sexy as anything.
I really love the portraits of the companions, and it was very pretty. And on the loading screen you had this cards, and which were drawn in a very nice way, and they were all was in a very nice style. So I really appreciate the user interface.
Yeah, and I think again, now you may be just thinking that we're just chatting about the drawing was pretty, but you've got to understand why it works is because it works in the whole of the game. It's not the art style worked within it, and it helps sell the lore of the world, and I think that's another thing for it.
Yes, exactly.
So we're neither of us are UI experts, so we're not going to stick on this topic way too long.
Neither, so
yeah.
I just appreciate a good.
No, I think it's good to draw attention to this, because I think UI is one of these topics where you only hear about it when it's bad. You know what I mean? They don't get enough credit when it's good. So just saying that, if there's anyone who ever worked on the Dragon Age, we appreciate what you did. So you got 2 fans for it here, and that's what I'm saying. There's certain elements in games which don't get any praise, but they get a shit ton of criticism when it comes to things being bad. So I think that's it. But the next one we're going to move on to is the companions.
Oh yeah, the most interesting thing about Dragon Age.
Oh yeah, and we were just chatting about this offline beforehand. Well, I was saying that there have been some incredible, as you said, yours, for example, was like a Alistair.
Oh yeah, from the origins, Alistair was just so funny and entertaining in general, because he and the other companions, like for example Morrigan or Stan, could have the best fights ever. And yeah, as you were saying, you were just stopping in the game and listening to what are we talking about?
Yeah, that's it. Like I had a point where when you knew there was going to be like a cutscene or you were coming to the end of a mission, I'd just stop and wait and hear what they did. And also at the time, because you mentioned Alistair and Origins, you know, like conversation with companions wasn't done that well. Like if you look at Uncharted 4, it's amazing. But like before then, we were saying again offline, like Neverwinter Nights and Baldur's Gates had some cool stuff, but like you never really got the tone of the character because it was mainly text and you'd have to stop and read, and it just killed the flow of a game.
They were basically standing there and looking at you, which was kind of creepy at some point.
Can I smell your hair, please? But like this one, you know, Alistair, and I was saying this to you, is like, he's that dickhead friend you have, and you don't know why you hang out with him, but he's hilarious, and that's why you hang out with him. So
he's kind of dumb as well, but
not
most of the time. But he has his moments when he's just don't get it.
Yeah, and that's it. And then we talked about in number 2, Varric, who comes into Inquisition as well. He's funny, like just some of the stuff that he says. He's like one of the selling points to me of that game.
Yeah, but he also seems to be your best friend. Like, because
you never can tell, really. I know he is, but I never felt like I could trust him.
Yeah, but in Dragon Age 2, he's a real friend, and he really loves Hog. And then in the Dragon Age 3, the Inquisition one, when you come at this point when you can choose if the Grey Warden or the Hog can die in the Fates, so you can safely.
Spoilers, by the way, people.
Oh, sorry guys, there will be some spoilers here.
Yeah, we should have said that one. So skip this episode if you haven't played this, but otherwise prepare for everything to be ruined.
Yeah, can we?
What? Ruin the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've given spoilers warning, so yeah.
Okay, so you can choose if the Hog or the Grey Warden can die.
Oh yeah.
And
which one did you pick, by the way?
It depends, because for example,
you played it multiple times, didn't you, just to see the
for example, I didn't want to kill Alistair when he was a Grey Warden that I could choose in the Inquisition to die. But and then I chose Hog to die. But for example, if you had this, I don't remember the guy's name, but it was some random Grey Warden that you managed to find somewhere in the cave.
Right. Okay.
Then I let him die. But if you let the Hog die and you get out of the Fate and you tell Varric about that, then he's crying and he's being very sad because he lost his best friend. Yeah. And,
I didn't know that one.
And it was very touching, actually, this moment, because he was touched by that.
I think that's it, but like, it was the moments in number 2 where he's chatting with the Inquisitor, and he's like trying to like BS her a bit. But like in the game, I felt that I couldn't tell if he was my best friend or not. Like there were certain moments, like I felt there was characters, and I was talking to you earlier about a certain elf, which was. We couldn't figure out if he's the rogue or the mage, but like
it's Fenris.
Yeah,
he was kind of like a, I think it's called Drow. Like he has like a darker skin.
Yes,
it's more like a grey skin.
Yeah, that's it. And I think he had some sort of tattoos.
White tattoos and white hair.
Yeah, he was brilliant, and I liked him because again his banter while you're going. Yeah. Because in number 2 especially, the elves were really like were slaves and were really pinned down. And I think as a quick side note, like. They address some serious issues, which I don't think when I was playing it back as like a late teen, I really, you know, with racism. Yeah, I don't know, like. Which is
great. And,
it teaches you some things, like you just shouldn't be. Yeah, like, I mean, just shouldn't be mean.
But on the other hand, it's good that it's not that straightforward. That you can interpret it as you like.
Yeah.
It's not forced on you, like.
Yeah, no, I think games kind of lose certain when they're putting a political view on you. But like, no, it was brilliant, and he was just fantastic because again, some of his banner. But like when I came to talk to him, he didn't always seem caring because he'd say something like sly and slightly insulting, but I knew he hid his emotions behind that. And again, just the character depth behind all of them was some of the best. Even, you know, no matter what you think of 2 or whatever, like in all those games, they have great companions who have just utter depth to them.
Yeah, there was like unlimited options to go for. Like in Origins, it was kind of tricky, I believe, because you didn't kind of knew what you were going to say is they're going to like it and if they're going to approve or disapprove, because it depended on the character. For example, Stan was kind of tricky. He was a Qunari that was that was held in this cage in the beginning, and I think it was a Denerim, and you struggled to be friend with him because you had to be kind of specific so he will like you, because you couldn't be very nice to him all the time because he disapproves that. You couldn't be a dick to him because he
didn't like that.
He didn't like it as well. But you should be just straightforward and talk in the short sentences, for example, and then he will approve. And if you have a respect for him and for his people and for what he did before, then you can see that he respects you back. So that was very nice. And also this golem, I don't remember what was her name because this was a girl actually.
Yes, because you did meet a couple of golems in the first and the second, but she sounds like a boy, but like a man. It turned out that she was a dwarf. Because wasn't one of her
female dwarf? Yeah. Just kind of enchanted in the golem.
Because wasn't one of the missions to go like release her spirit?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that one being quite sad because I don't know how you got the ending, but like my ending was like I kind of messed up her freedom. Like she got released, but she died in the process and stuff. So her spirit went away. But like it was nice because like I remember her. And as you say it, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, it was a dude. No, it was a girl." But like, I remember doing the side mission because you do go off the beaten path for it, and just thinking because I just remember making a mistake, and I can't remember what it was, like either through a conversation branch or what have you. But that one left an impact. Like when I think about it, I was like, "Oh man, like all she didn't want to hurt anyone, but she was mistaken for being a monster.
Yeah,
mistaken for being a guy as well because." You know, like how many golem females in the fantasy world, are there? I think that's a good point. It's just like the companions that you have, like they really help push the world and the story for it.
And you are being attached to them, which is nice because eventually you have to choose, and you need to sometimes decide if the things that you will do will be good for them or good for Elden. So it was difficult sometimes.
Can you give an example of like when you had to choose one person over the group? Or?
Like for example, when Morrigan wanted to be she wanted to have a baby with Aleksandra, and he didn't wanted that, but she said that it will save the world, and we need to trust her. Yeah. And then. If you were having a romance with Aleksandra, you had to decide if you want to save the world or lose your love interest. So in general,
did you lose him? Because I didn't have.
You didn't really lose him, but it wasn't comfortable for the character, and it wasn't, and he wasn't happy that you asked him to do that in order to save the world because he thought that you don't care about him enough. And you are so easygoing with him sleeping with another person. So it was kind of difficult, and you had to make this decision sometimes, and as well with for example Wayne later, the older lady, and Morrigan was also a little bit tricky. She was hard to get. Okay, if you were buying gifts in this shop in your camp, then it was pretty easy because you were just giving them gifts, and you get plus 50 points of likes, and just fun. But for example, this is what I liked about Origins mod and about Inquisition, that you were never sure if they will enjoy what you are going to tell them, and if you were never like 100%. It wasn't clear in general if going to like what you did, or what you gave them, or what you are talking about with them, or and it influences your missions later, because you can lose your companions in the end, and they can, if they don't like you enough, they can go away, and they won't help you to fight Archdemon.
Yeah.
So
did they not leave you in Inquisition?
In Inquisition, it's kind of different, because you have this icons that show you if someone will like it or not. So you have like a heart icon if you want romance.
Forgot about that one.
Or if you have like icon if you want a friendship. You have an angry icon, like this angry face if you want to start a fight. And you have the tricky things in Inquisition as well sometimes.
Yeah, but I think you're right. Like hiding those things works better because
you need to think. You need to study the character and predict what they might like, what would be the good thing to do here. And it's not that easy sometimes to read someone's mind.
Oh no, especially like I think at the times, like the animations were good, and at the time period. But and that made it like harder in a good way, because you didn't, like I said, it was hard to be like, is this person gonna? I remember it was the short-haired ginger warrior rogue. She's in the first one.
It's Liliana.
Yeah, and I remember because I was trying to win her over the time, and I just kept shooting myself in the foot because she was a good party member. I didn't pay attention to her in like cutscenes or conversations. So when it came to me trying to win her over, because I wanted to unlock her side quest, because you had to, like most of the characters, you had to get a certain trust point before you could do their quests. And I just remember like I just kept butchering it over and over and over, and like Morrigan ended up loving me. I was like, God, no, I'm trying to do her story. But that's it. No, I think it's a very like valid point. Is it's up to you to pay attention to learn, and that's what made those, like we were just chatting about Alistair's and the Elvins like conversation. That's all good for laughter, but it's also good for understanding the character and their motives. And I think that's a brilliant one.
For example, when I was playing Dragon Age Origins now again. And I saw that...
Like I said, we did our research.
Yeah. So when you were saving the Arl Eamon, and it was back in Redcliffe, and
Great moment, by the way.
And then you could choose if you want to solve these things in the Circle of Magi. It was because the Joan proposed you to use his blood magic in order to save the child. Yeah. And... And you could, for example, sacrifice Isolde, which was his mother and wife, I think, of Arl Eamon, and or Tegan maybe, I don't remember at this very moment, which was the uncle of Alistair, kind of. Yes. And, so you could sacrifice Isolde, or you could go to the Circle of Magi and fix it in another way. So, for example, before I went to the Circle of Magi and did all these things longer, so everyone will be happily ever after, and the family will be complete. But then I decided to sacrifice Isolde, so to get things faster and get in the fate to save the child. And then when I went back to the camp, the Alistair was so furious, and he disapproved, like I think it was minus 25 points of trust, which was like huge, and he didn't want to talk about that, and he was just furious about that you wanted to sacrifice someone in order to, instead of going somewhere and trying to fix it in another way. So eventually some of your choices, even in quests, had an influence on your companions. Yeah,
I think that's another thing, is like they are your like moral compass in a way as well. Like because I remember that one as well, and I remember at one point I was just like, just kill the kid, like this quest is taking so long, But when I mentioned it or something in there, like you talk about it through your pie, and I mentioned it, and like people reacted really badly, and I was like, fine, I'll go off and I'll get the thing, But I think that's again like another reason of why that's so brilliant. Well, I think we've talked about companions for a fair amount of time.
Oh yeah.
So we'll move on to story now. I think another thing with this is like they're like not even just the story but the lore of the world. Their whole worlds are
the base and the Dungeons and Dragons world in general. The beautiful world of the Ferelden, I think it's called Tidas.
I know what you're trying.
I have no idea how to spell it, but in general, I think it was truly shown in the Inquisition, because in Dragon Age you couldn't really, the Dragon Age Origins, you couldn't really see all these cities and all these areas what we were talking about. And in Dragon Age 2, of course, you just had
trapped in the city.
Yeah. So, but in Dragon Age 3, the map was so big and the areas were so different from each other. And what I liked the most was that some of the areas were hiding dragons in them.
Okay.
So I think it was 10 dragons overall, and you have to find them. And if you kill all of them, you get like a super good achievement, like Dragon Hunter or something like that. So
I remember getting my ass kicked by the dragon in the first area.
I think it was in Hinterlands. It was the first time you see.
Yeah, and I was like, shit, because he's not even hiding. He's just flying around a certain area. I
think it was in the you are going in some sort of cave, and then you see this area, and then he's just like, this is a dragon chilling. That's nice. But then you are going closer, and then he's just like killing you in one swipe, which was okay. So I'm dead.
Yeah, he's like.
And I really like that, because also every dragon was different from each other, so they have different powers, different look, which was and I really like the design of the dragons.
I think they always nailed down like how the dragons just looked.
They were very pretty, and
in a kill you kind of way.
Oh yeah, they're just smashing in the ground and
taking your life.
That's a way to kill a person. But overall, I think this whole world was presented very well in the Inquisition. That the different areas, they showed the weather change. They showed the different. For example, they showed the place where the elves lives in the forest, and it was beautiful. And they can show the desert, and then they can show the beautiful city, which was, for example, Orlais, which was very fancy, and they can see your castle Skyhold when you keep the people that you saved, the refugees from the. I don't remember what was the name of the first village when you landed. It was.
I know which one you mean, but I can't remember the name. We clearly did our research thoroughly.
Yeah, but you land in the Skyhold, and it's very nice, because you can also build your castle. You can improve it. You can also do a lot of things for your people, and I really like that, because you were kind of a leader there, and but I think the main topic was story.
As we've gone,
kind of missed that, and I was talking about the world mostly, and
I think that plays into it. Like I say, is like the story and the lore of the world, like in the because what I liked is in the first one, the short-haired ginger girl we were just on about earlier, because where she is from is where you are in the second game. And like she builds that up in the first one, she's unsure if she ever wanted to leave, but she knows there's issues there, and there were people like giving her stick for insulting her when she was walking around with you because she's from that area. So then, like I said, the second one's always a controversial game, but like when you're there and they're like looking at, just when you're there and you can see what she said, and I remember. she said certain things about certain places, and then you went to visit them as Hawk, was just like, oh, like now I see what she means and stuff. And I think that's is like I said, despite what you think of certain parts of the games, and that is like they all tie in to make this world more believable, you know?
Exactly. And I really like this conflict between mages and Templars.
Oh my god, like yes.
It's good. It's very nice because it's like constantly going on, and even if you think that you fixed that, then there will be always someone who will destroy it again, and they can never like live in peace. They always fight with each other, and they can unite at some point if they have a common enemy that they should conquer. But in general, it's funny when maybe not funny, but it's interesting how they dislike each other and how they have a good point, like why one doesn't trust another. And they have right to fear one another, and that's interesting as well. And I think this is like one of the most important things that are happening inside of the Dragon Age, because they constantly fight, and there is always some issues. Once with the mages, once with the Templars, and then there is like, and there is a Fade, which
brings more trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's Darkspawn out of nowhere, and there's like many good things happening, and I really like how they're approaching that, because they try to show perspectives, which is adorable.
I don't know if adorable is the correct word, but it's a great thing what they're doing. But it's like building on that point, I think that's why Dragon Age Inquisition, and if anyone's read my articles or listened to some of the previous episodes, I talked about the opening of Dragon Age Inquisition. I was just talking to you about it. Is like when you see the mage and the Templar walking together within like arm's reach of one another. If you know the lore, you're like, why are they not killing one another? Like, how are they trusting one another? And there's that many of them, and like that's a brilliant point, because you know when you start the game, people are trying to point fingers at one another and they're blaming you.
Who caused that mess?
Yes, and that's it. It's like every time where you think these guys are gonna like see eye to eye, so something stops them, and that's another bit. Is like that's not part of the main story, but the lore is rich enough for you to like if you. Thanks, dog. But that's it. Like where you dive deep enough, you can just understand so much just from people standing near one another or standing in a different stance, or the things they say to one another. I think that's brilliant. You know?
Yeah, I think it's overall it's good to see when you face the big threat, you can actually unite, and you don't think about the mess that happened before. But the most annoying thing in the whole Dragon Age franchise was the Anders blowing up the Chantry. It was like,
which bit?
It was in Dragon Age 2, the final point of the saga, like of this part, when he blew up the Chantry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he caused a massive mess because of that, and it was only because he wanted to prove that he knows better than them, that he said that it can't be fixed, so I need to destroy it. So
see, it's interesting because I see that from a different perspective, because the Chantry were kind of the reason that like there's a lot of oppression, in my opinion. You know, like everyone was hunting others, and I personally had enough with the Chantry as well. So when that happened, I was like, yeah, middle finger to the sky.
Yeah, but then when you were playing Inquisition, it was kind of connected to the second part.
Yes.
And while they killed the I think it was Great Enchantress.
Yeah, Great Enchantress.
Something like that. Yeah. So it caused a huge mess in the kingdom later, in the whole world, because they couldn't find another one to replace her. They couldn't find a piece. They couldn't kind of work together in Inquisition to fight Corypheus.
if I remember correctly, though, she sacrificed herself.
Yeah,
you know, and that's the bit that like got away. Like, as much as I was happy because their religion in this, like in the game, was very thorough and very well done. And she was actually a very good character because I thought, oh, she's going to be a raving loon and, you know, try to convince you. And that's not me insulting religion. That's just the religion in the game. And then when you met her and she was actually just like, oh, I just want to talk. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? And she's very open, and then she sacrificed herself. And yeah, no, I think you're right. And that goes back to the point of like, they just build on these games. They don't miss the details, and that's what makes them.
Yes, and it's nice because you don't need to play previous parts to kind of get what get the plot. But it's better if you are going from the one part to the third one. Better if you played before the Neverwinter Nights, for example.
Jeez, yeah, like I keep forgetting about that. But yes, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, it's kind of interesting how you can spot this little interesting facts that are kind of hidden sometimes, but very very interesting, and they are worth to in general investigate later on.
I think you're right. I think it's I said that the world is bigger, as we mentioned, Neverwinter Nights and Baldur's Gates, you know, prior to it. Yeah, they're just amazing games, and I think that's probably where we're gonna end this episode, as we've been chatting about Dragon Age for half an hour, and we could probably go on for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
But to make sure you guys have your breakfast, lunch, or dinner, depending when you listen to this, we'll stop and let you enjoy that. But I think the main things to take away is like their UI ended up like, it's not just that it's pretty, but it helps to build the lore in terms of the art style and what they're showing, you know. And I know that's probably obvious to most, but it is amazing how, oh, this looks pretty, but it doesn't tie in with the world, and some games just do that without realizing. Companions, making sure that they're actual people, you know, like you hear their stuff. When you have different members, they react differently to one another. And as you said, in future games or previous games, seeing how they talk about characters that you either were or you previously had in your party, just to make that world feel even bigger and like better and richer. Exactly. And then the lore of the world is in, like you say, like all of these games are connected, and I think that's what you're saying. Like everything has a point and an impact, and these are like one of the many reasons that we love Dragon Age. So BioWare, thank you very much for creating this universe. You know, I want to say a big thank you to our lovely guest, Aleksandra. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a big pleasure for me to be here.
Cool. I think we'll bring you on for future episodes. We'll figure out other things to talk about. But no, like we hope you've enjoyed this episode and hearing our opinions, and we'd love for you guys to tell us your opinions as well. Like, why did you like the series? Was there something you didn't like, and why? But yeah, and the main thing is just subscribe to the podcast. I think like let us know that we're doing something that you enjoy, and that we can keep making these episodes so you guys can enjoy them, and we'll keep trying our best to entertain you, you know, with our smooth jazz. I say smooth jazz in every episode, so I feel I have to get this in now. So
do it.
That's it.
No, do it.
But thank you again, guys. Like I said, please subscribe to the podcast. If you want to hit me up with your reasons why you did or didn't like Dragon Age, please tweet me at MaxPez. Aleksandra, you're just a woman of mystery. You're hard to find, you know. But if you got anything to say about her and you like her voice or something, I'll pass on the notes, you know.
Okay, thank you, Max.
But thank you guys. Take care, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.